we'll see how they go. You ready for Joe?
How they go? I'm ready for Joe. Is Joe ready for us?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. I feel like we just did this.
Daytime?
I just feel like we just did this.
We did just do this. Literally,
We did just do this.
we literally did just do this. Absolutely. Mr. Raineri, how are you? So welcome back to BBB. How are you?
Pleasure, gentlemen. I know, Peralt, when we left, we were an hour and a half or 2 hours away from the opening tee times there. Which I know you said you were going to stay up, right, the whole night, right? And I'm sure you did, right? You never went to bed last night. You just right from in-game live,
Yes,
right into the Open Championship.
As I said, if I was awake at 2:30 in the morning, something very serious was wrong. Something bad had just happened in my life. I was at a hospital. I was in a car wreck. Like if I was seeing 2 a.m. last night, something big was going down in my life. So luckily, I was sound asleep when that happened.
But before going to sleep, Joe, Maddie, little Bostonian, lost a tooth.
Yes.
And it was a big night. I was on the phone with Matt and we were trying to line up the show for today and talking about it. And so he did have, a big event happen, but it was
the canine. It was one of those big teeth. She's a big gap in her mouth now.
What is, I'm curious here, with inflation and obviously compound interest, what exactly does the tooth fairy pay these days? Like what are we going with here?
It's $5. It was $20 for the first tooth and then $5 for every tooth after that. See, but the problem was that like when you go out and you have these things that go on, like you realize at certain places that sometimes the tooth fairy has to leave an IOU. She got an IOU because when you lose your tooth after the sun goes down, well, then you have to go ahead and have an IOU. So she will get it tonight. The tooth fairy is coming tonight.
So she'll get it when she's 16 and maybe allowed to drive the car. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. The IOU thing is fantastic. I never would have thought of that.
She woke up and she goes, again? She goes, I forgot. I lost it too late. So I did a good job of setting it up ahead of time. So I was okay on that point. So it wasn't that much of a disappointment this morning when she woke up and checked her pillow and there wasn't $5 there. So tonight it shows up.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. There was no cash around. It's crazy.
Blame Jordan Spieth anyway. Just might as well because he's costing us money right now as it is with this back nine. So just when she says, where's my cash, be like, it's Jordan Spieth's fault.
Yeah, he's the one. He went bogey to start the back nine for us to cost us.
Ridiculous. I wanted to ask you, Joe, to start it off. Forget the golf for a second. The Yankees are home today.
Yes.
They're back home after the West Coast trip. They got Kansas City. It's Schmidt against Marsh. The Yankees every day, it doesn't matter where they play, who pitches against them. They're always favored. They're almost a $2 favorite. Joe, are the Yankees going to sweep the Royals this weekend? And if they don't, what the hell are they going to do if they lose like 2 of 3 to the Royals?
Well, I mean, listen. Should they sweep the Royals? Yes. Will they sweep the Royals? Not with my money. I ain't going to find out. I can tell you that right now. They might as well be a $3 favorite. What the hell's the difference? Who in the right mind is going to bet the Yankees right now? What is the old saying, right? We've always said it. We don't want to catch a falling knife. Probably not a really good long-term idea to do so. And right now, the Yankees are an absolute falling knife, and I want nothing to do to try to catch them. I want nothing to do with them trying to turn anything around. They should be able to hit the Kansas City pitching. Does that mean they're going to be able to do it? No. They should have done a lot of things at this point. They are just an unbettable commodity right now until we can see them show some semblance of competence up at the plate. I want nothing to do with this team.
It's interesting when you look at the American League East standings because the Orioles are in first place. They got a 3-game lead in the loss column to the Rays, yet the books do not believe in the Orioles. When or do you believe in the Orioles? And if you don't, what do you need to see to believe in them as a legit contender, not just in the East, but to win the pennant?
Well, the biggest thing standing in the way certainly isn't talent, right? Though the argument can be made maybe the frontline starters of the Orioles are not what some of these other teams might be going at in a short series. But the reality is, from a lineup standpoint, talent, base running, defense, the bullpen with Cano and Batista. Those two guys were lights out last night. Batista, I think, had a 2-inning save as we were on air last night watching it. They have the pieces. The only thing they lack is experience, which unfortunately matters these days. And the question is, now with an extra team, right, an extra wild card team, the postseason, it's crunch time. So they're in a battle with Tampa. They seem to be handling their business here. If they eventually win the East, and it does appear like there is certainly an advantage to winning the division. The only thing I think that'll be standing in their way is themselves. Now, they may not be good enough to eventually end up, coming out and representing the American League, but it won't be because of a lack of talent. They have all the pieces, but inexperience usually comes into play early on in the postseason.
Joe, there's some good regular league matchups. Atlanta's playing Milwaukee. We can get to that in a minute because Atlanta's such a short number. I can't believe it. The American League, obviously, the main course is Baltimore, Tampa. But look at the interleague matchups today. At the Mets and Red Sox would normally be a really big deal, but it's not. But the Dodgers are playing Texas, and the Dodgers are a dog for like the second or third time in the last 3 years. We got a guy named Big Business who comes and watches the show. He participates in the chat. He's been just nonstop. The Texas is good. They're going to win. How about that game today? You interested in that game? Gonsolin and Haney.
So Haney, and this is interesting, right? So didn't he pitch for the Dodgers last year? Yeah. So it looked like the Dodgers might have an interesting take or two on him. And I believe 6-0 now to start the second half after the All-Star break for the Rangers. I mean, they're red hot. So are the Dodgers here. Gonsolin has gotten, he's gotten away with a lot. His numbers don't, a lot of luck, a lot of ball bouncing in the right area there, a lot of barrels, a lot of hard hit. But the bottom line is when your team scores some runs, you can afford to be a little less than perfect here. So he did have regression coming. It is hit, it appears, but the reality is I think there's levels to this. And the level right now is Rangers, you got way more to prove than the Dodgers do. I think the Dodgers go about their business. I think the Dodgers at anything for the rest of the season, and call me crazy, Matt, anything at plus money. There are, with some of these teams, Atlanta, the Dodgers. If I'm getting plus money, I don't care if Sherapan is pitching for them. I'm betting them. I don't care. It's not like we have sisters of the poor here. It's not like Gonsolin's a number 5 starter.
Right.
I'm good taking the Dodgers at plus money from here on out for the rest of the season.
It's fair. Let's switch to football here because you're in Miami. So the Dolphins, a lot of hype around them. Are they the team? Like, if you were to poll people, like, what team is the most popular in Miami? And is it the Heat or is it the Dolphins? And what's the hype at the Dolphins level right now heading towards the season?
Can we make it clear it's not the Panthers?
No, it is.
Panthers.
No, it's not the Panthers, unfortunately. No, but I tell you, it's come a long way. This past run has certainly opened the eye. Got to say, most people didn't even know in South Florida there was a hockey team here until this year. So there's baby steps there. But this town for decades has always been a Dolphins town, right? Marino, Shula, they're icons. They pass down generation to generation. But about, just
what
about 2 decades.
You, Joe? It's a U.
No, the U has been less relevant than the Dolphins have, unfortunately. Although that fan base is steadfast, right? Because every year it's the U, man. The U is give me the U. The U's winning a national championship. They're great until they get blown out like 48-7 by a team in the SEC, and then they're like, "Oh wow, we got to fire the coach. We got to find somebody new." It's rinse and repeat with the U.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, it's a Heat town. To answer your question, it's without a doubt over the last more than a decade now, the Heat have taken over South Florida. So it is absolutely a Heat town with Pat Riley and company. The Miami base, who has been screaming for a consistent winner, some sort of hope, they felt like they got it here with Tua and Coach McDaniels. They feel like they're on to it, that this is the year, and there is a ton of hype around this team. The only problem that I have is I hope they're selling a lot of Mike White jerseys because as soon as he plays a game or two, he's going to get blindside sacked and he's going to be out with a concussion, and they are not going to allow this guy to get another 2 or 3 concussions this season and be out on the field. The NFL will not allow it. The Dolphins will try it, but it's not going to work. It's a terrible look. He's past the point of any return here. It's one more concussion, I think, and they're going to have to start planning for a new quarterback.
Joe, you're in Miami. Matt is a Bostonian living in Vegas, and I'm a Pittsburgh guy living in Vegas. Who wins more games, Dolphins, Patriots, or Steelers this season?
Oh, well, I mean,
who can we say it's not of those 3? Pretty simple. Joe, say
I am not a big
Joe,
believer.
it's very simple.
No, well, it's not really, because I am not a big believer of sticking a fork in Belichick and the Patriots and somehow just assuming they're going to suck.
Right now?
All right, number one. No, listen, I'll say this. I say it's a coin flip as far as I'm concerned with what's going on with Pittsburgh, because I do think in many aspects Pittsburgh's division is going to be more difficult than what's going to happen here. I think the AFC East is overhyped. I think the potential to go backwards is there for the AFC East. I don't see it with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. The Browns are going to be much better this year. Like, that is a killer division for the Steelers. I think the biggest thing nobody's talking about is no more Matt Patricia calling offensive plays. No more Joe Judge, guys. Say what you want about Bill O'Brien as a head coach, but as an OC with a young quarterback, this could be the greatest thing that ever happened to Mac Jones in his life.
Oh, my God.
I am not sticking a fork in New England. I learned my lesson a long time ago. I don't care that Brady ain't there. The idea that we're just going to push Belichick out to the pasture and be like, that's over, man, retired. He's not the... No. That's how you lose money. I don't plan on losing money fading the New England Patriots in spots this year.
Joe, you are welcome anytime on this show.
Yeah,
what the hell just happened?
I'm not buying, and I'm a Jet fan. But I am
Which
not
is ridiculous.
I
will let you right to the thing. It doesn't matter how many games these 3 teams win, because the Jets are going to win, because the Jets are on Hard Knocks. You got Rodgers. You got all this.
How many wins do they get for Hard Knocks? I'm sorry. What are the new rules here? Do they get? Would they start 3-0 because they're on Hard Knocks? What are you talking about? As a Jet fan, trust me when I tell you, this right now is as good as it's going to get all year. At some point, it is going to self-implode. I'm not going there anymore. I promised myself years ago, as much as I enjoy pain, I am not subjecting myself to that anymore. I'll believe it when they get to 10 wins, or what is it now? 9.5? Yeah. So when they get to 10, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. If they don't sniff 7, you and I are going to have a conversation right around that point there, my friend. And then I'm going to give you the old big I told you so.
Oh, I love it.
It is funny that nobody, some people are, but their unnamed sources are saying, you guys kind of know that Rodgers is taking a step backwards, right? Like, there's just this assumption that Aaron Rodgers is going to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. What happens if he throws a bunch of picks? I mean, I know the defense is going to help him out, but I just feel like everyone is completely jumping off this bridge together that the Jets are going to win the division or be in the postseason. I got to say, it's refreshing to hear somebody say, wait a minute, we're still talking about the Jets, right? Like,
yes.
They still have big problems. And
I'm a diehard. So I'm telling you, that you got to be realistic here. Yeah. Now, I will say this, Matt. That could very well be true. I still happen to think there's a little left in the tank with Aaron Rodgers, provided he limits the micro dosing over there and the mushrooms. But I do think there is a possibility here, and I'm okay with that. I'm not assuming it, but there is a very real possibility that Aaron Rodgers, with these weapons, he's got more weapons now than he's had ever. He's got the familiar offensive coordinator in Hackett. He doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. The young guys are going to be enamored to play with him. This could be, and he's got a grudge, right? He's got a chip on his shoulder. Hard to believe he does, but Aaron Rodgers is a fickle guy. Green Bay didn't want him. They did everything in the power to push him out. He's kind of pissed off about that, and that's not a great thing because he's kind of, he kind of holds grudges here, and it's possible, but it's also very possible, to your point, this team don't win 6 games this year.
People in the chat right now going crazy. 6 is a little low. That's a little low.
It's the Jets.
I know, but that's Saleh getting fired. Saleh goes 6-11. He's fired.
It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Goodbye.
What's the order of finish in the AFC East then? Like,
it's
what's the order
division.
of finish?
Anybody thinking the Bills? It's the Bills. There's levels to this, right? And right now, it's the Bills. Like, you've got to go and get the Bills. And the Bills aren't worried about New England. They're not worried about the Jets, and they ain't worried about Miami.
Dolphins, right.
The Bills are there. They've got all the pieces in place. I love the fact that, Micah Hyde is back. He's not injured anymore. They're going to go ahead. Von Miller will be back. That defense lost so much throughout the year last year, and they still had an opportunity, of course, to represent the AFC, just couldn't get it done. They're running out of time. Don't get me wrong here. Like, we can't keep saying, ooh, they're so close. Josh Allen's got to take them. He's got to stop the ridiculousness with the turnovers, and he's got to elevate this team to the next level. If he does, guys, he's going to get one. It ain't going to be all Patrick Mahomes. They're going to get one. It is their division, and I can make the argument it's their conference to lose.
Wow. See, I think it's the Chiefs and the Bills battling it out and fighting and talking trash and everything else. And the team that takes advantage on the outside is the Bengals. I think the Bengals have a better shot at making it to the Super Bowl than the Bills do this year.
Wow.
Well, listen, the Bengals have and I'm a big believer in the NFL and continuity, right? You got the entire, maybe the best thing to happen is Anarumo did not get a head coaching job, and he comes back. The guy is one of the single best in-game adjuster defensive coordinators I've ever seen. They are an absolute cash cow in making sure you back them in second halves of games in which it's within a score or they're losing, because the other team will not have any success doing what they did in the first half against them. I can assure you that. Full coaching staff. For the most part, they've got all the weapons back. The offensive line, which they retooled last year, then they ended up getting hurt, but all those guys are back. Couple of secondary members are gone, but again, I have faith in Anarumo to be able to put it all together. They are a very dangerous team, and they're also pretty pissed off that they had to play that game the way they did, how the schedule worked out there because of the cancellation.
Right.
But they're scorched earth, people. They are the most dangerous team, more so than Kansas City or anybody else. They're the most dangerous team. If you like the Bills, that's the team you got to worry about.
So everybody in the chat, everybody watching the show, Joe just told you it's Buffalo's division to lose. Put your final result, AFC East, in the chat right now. A lot of people are going with Buffalo, then Miami, then New England, and then the Jets. That's the first couple ones that I saw. I don't know if I agree with that. I think
injuries are going to tell a huge part of this season.
Injuries
in the
are
East.
life.
I know, but in the East in particular, because if Joe's right and Tua gets knocked out in week 2, Dolphins' year is done. Dolphins are going to come in last place. So it really depends upon some key factors, some key guys.
But what if, like Joe said, what if Rodgers gets hurt?
Yeah, then the Jets are gone. Right. I mean, it's huge. Right.
Right.
I mean, any team losing their starting quarterback, I know it's kind of like a duh comment, but like I think there are certain teams that have players. Rodgers already got hurt in training camp, so we know. I mean, he's up there in the 30s, and then Tua's concussions. We got 2 quarterbacks who are, I don't want to say injury prone, but let's be frank, they are. So that could be a big factor in both those teams as to who winds up in last place.
Joe,
And by
last
the way,
one for me.
the Dolphins have, to me, the most inexperienced and the most boneheaded coach in the division. I watched him on a number of occasions last year in spots going, what in the world? What is he doing? Like, what is he? He put his team at a disadvantage in a number of primetime games last year. The Pittsburgh game, I believe, was one of them that comes to mind here on a Thursday night or a Monday night, where his play calling was mind-blowing as to what he was doing there. I don't trust McDaniel as far as I can throw him. And in that division with those coaches, yeah, no. I'll believe it when I see it.
Last one for me before we let you go. Are you going to walk the dog today? Have you already walked the dog today? Because you're the tannest guy on SportsGrid all the time.
Yes.
Is the dog close by right now? Can you put the dog up?
Yes. Well, he is. He's here licking his ass right now, but he'll as soon as he's done. Yeah, as soon as he's done. So you got to pick and choose your spots. It's Lucifer's outside. It's about 136 degrees here. But the good news is we have those rain clouds every day right around this time. So we have an opportunity to get under 100, and then I take him for a walk. So yes, thank you for asking. Though.
Very good.
Joe, thank you for being here, my friend. It was a lot of fun working with you last night. Just look to dig in at some point soon. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Love it, guys. Good luck, man.
See you, Joseph.
Oops, sorry, I got him. He was yelling and screaming. Sorry. Hold on. We had to change things around because we got the guy coming on here in just 1 second, and we want to make
sure. Yeah. The cheese guy's stay. Is he coming? He's doing it, right?
I'm guessing he was kidding. I don't assume he was telling he was being serious and being
hope he wasn't
banged up and upset about saying that he was bailing on us. I don't think he's going to do that, but we'll see when Lazio wants to roll on in here with his cheese and his headphones and everything else. He's yelling at me in my emails today, getting all upset.